You have to have a deal desk. You have to have a framework. But what are you trying to do? If you basically get a customer to churn because you've been very sticky on one point, and that customer can be a $10 million customer, you've made a bad decision for everybody.
The role of the CFO is evolving. Finance leadership inside of companies more and more is signing up for and accountable to driving growth. That's what we want to talk about here today. David is the CFO of Datadog. He has been the CFO of a number of businesses, cutting his teeth, earning his stripes in a range of operating environments, all of which led to joining Datadog in 2018, which I think was about a year before the business went public. David obviously led that process, and more impressively, the growth and execution and leadership since then has been exceptional. Datadog is a $50 billion market cap company and one of the most amazing SaaS growth stories of the last decade plus, in no small part thanks to David's leadership. David, I'd also note, as I scan the market and try to find people to learn from, it is amazing how often your name comes up. So congrats on all the success.
Thanks for being here. So you're saying I'm old.
Your words, not mine.
In a period of rapid expansion, of modernization of tech stacks and applications, Datadog was created to monitor those and to service production engineers, reliability engineers, security engineers in rapidly deploying and monitoring the functioning of those applications. Something we'll talk about a lot, and we talked about just at lunch, is that Datadog's a platform company, meaning lots of functionality has been developed and continues to develop on the platform. And what we find is that our customers want everything all neatly organized for them as a solution so they can be more efficient in their job and the remediation of problems. And as I think we'll also talk about, the technology that's employed there is changing, and it's becoming increasingly AI enabled, which will be a big topic of discussion. And so we are investing behind a very long-term trend of the modernization of applications, which we think the cloud natives are doing and large enterprises.
Transparency and accuracy and trust, all very important themes as you lead finance functions. I'd love to use that as a segue. Maybe, David, let's start with you into what you think the finance leadership job really means today and what sets truly great CFOs apart.
The CFO is in a pretty unique seat, and they mean that they get exposure to, can see across all the business functions. There are very few people who are situated to really understand all the driver of a business, of course, the CEO. So with that, I think the most important function of a CEO is to understand those drivers and what's going on and equip the company, the whole company, to make business decisions, investment decisions, product decisions, pricing, et cetera, in order to maximize the opportunity for the company. And through that lens, help everybody to achieve growth through prioritization and thinking through where the next investment should go. And I think that is the critical partnership of a CFO with a CEO, with the various reports and functions, and also the board, et cetera. So I think that is at the center. But with that also comes, and this is one of the reasons why the CFO job is so interesting to me and evolves so much, you have to, I think, do that, plus be a very good communicator and marketer across all these constituencies. A lot of our communication is internal. It's communicating clearly the mission and direction of the company to the people that work there, to investors, to the board. So I think you have to be a really good communicating investor. I think you then also have to be, and this is hard in one, to be a very good operator. You have to enable and scale a company, whether it be your controls, your accounting, your procurement, your real estate, whatever it is, you have to provide as a CFO a very good infrastructure in order to enable that growth. So I think that's what it takes to be a modern CFO.
I mean, just my voice to the choir for a second here. That's basically exactly how we think about it at Ramp 2. I mean, David, your point about instrumenting the business and deeply understanding the value drivers, and then democratizing that information and sharing it transparently with the company such that people can ladder their own work back into the 1 or 2 or 3 most important things is absolutely critical. And it helps ruthlessly prioritize against the stuff that's really going to matter. I would love to turn to specifically CFO, CBO, CRO type relationships. And as you think about your relationships with CBOs and CROs, past or current, what do you value the most? What have you found to be effective ways to partner with the go-to-market organization?
First of all, I think it's really important that the partners, the CFO, are united with the CBOs and CROs in the purpose. And for us, I'd say, I repeat all the time, I'm here to maximize ARR short and long term. We're here together. We're trying to create a bigger, long-term, sustainable company. So I'm not here to be Dr. No. I'm here just like you as a shareholder and a partner to make sure that we're investing and growing, creating deal terms that maximize that. That's really empowering because that makes you partners with the people, not policemen, and that is important. On the other hand, and one of the things that's really, I think, subtle about being a CFO is in your mind, you have to understand that you can't do everything all at once and you need to make a profitable business. So I like to try to empower, as you said, say everybody with the analytics. Like we're an engineering-driven company. We're all at Datadog somewhat analytical. It's not forcing people to look at the analysis. It's how we do it naturally. So I try to give everybody, provide all that analysis and have them come to a joint decision of ownership with me. And that's pretty powerful. For instance, if we're trying to grow our sales capacity by a certain amount, I want to do that, but I want to do it in the way that's going to be the most prioritized. I want to do it in a way that has diligence around it, so it's not just hearsay of the chief revenue officer, but we're really looking at the data. So I want to grow. I want to be partners there in growing. And my job is to create some order or priority around that common objective to get the best result in the end with some profitability in mind.
I don't know if our chief business officer is in the room. His name is Colin Kennedy. My answer is different if he is or isn't. I'm just kidding. I would say this in front of Colin. I absolutely love Colin, but I really agree. I mean, I think Colin and I have completely unified understanding of what matters for the business in the long run. We look at the same dashboards every single day, and we talk all the time. And so that creates a very important and powerful baseline level of trust. And we both know we're solving for the exact same thing. And it means that when we do disagree on something, we can come at it from overall a shared perspective. And very importantly, I let him win sometimes. I think he lets me win sometimes too. So there's a very important and productive give or take that I think you can get to when you have real trust.
I think it's really important, you said this, to set up the information systems and knowledge systems so that everybody can see it. It isn't a good culture to have finance have something in spreadsheets and bring it out at that moment. It's best if everybody can see it. And there are lots of ways to do that. There are tools that show all the deals, the most probable, that risk assess the deals. There's meetings that, I'm in very regularly with the sales leadership and my team on what's happening on deals. There's helping them get deals, being willing to show that you understand what we're trying to do. And so, coming in and helping with deals. I'm thinking not through rigid rules. You have to have a deal desk. You have to have a framework. But what are you trying to do? If you basically get a customer to churn because you've been very sticky on one point, and that customer can be a $10 million customer, you've made a bad decision for everybody. So I think it's really important to have that transparency. A good example of that is we are a major sort of advertiser and presence at AWS reInvent. So they came up with this idea that, and maybe some of you have seen, we'd have sliding boards with between floors with Datadog brand on it. And you would go and you would get a picture of you going, whoa. And I thought that was the most insane idea. Like in my mind, I go, what are you talking about? So they said, no, we thought about it. And so I turned the other way. And I said, let's see. And guess what most people remember about Datadog at AWS? It's the sliding board. So I learned, there are things that, as you say, aren't logical, or you might not have seen them, or you may not be able to attach straight value. But you got to be flexible in this seat to listen to others and try some things.
Okay, my brief example on exactly this point that you guys are talking about.
Billboards.
No,
Yeah.
it's worse. It's worse.
I see the ramp ones everywhere.
Airport advert. Yeah.
We ran, some of you may know this, we ran a Super Bowl ad last early February. We made the call to run this ad 10 days before the Super Bowl. I had just become the CFO at the time, so I was called into Eric's office, and we were debating vigorously whether this was a good idea or not. I was totally convinced it was a trap. It was like, this is how CFOs get fired for greenlighting this thing. So I pushed back pretty hard. I thought I had some substantive arguments, and Eric, exactly to your point, Dimitri, was like, hey, we are not going to be able to measure this. That's not the point. And so guess what? He won that battle. We ran the Super Bowl ad. It's been an amazing thing for the company. And I learned through that
and
too.
You're still CFO.
And I survived barely. David, I mean, for you have a much bigger finance team. You're a very fully formed organization. How do you think about creating the culture and changing the mindset around what work should be done, what people are spending time on, how much more efficiency people might be able to find in their day-to-day?
I think in general, I agree with the comment that what we're trying to do is make people's lives more efficient and productive so they can spend more time on thinking, using their brain. So most of our investment in finance has been either productivity tools, like making them available to everybody. There's lots of examples of that, whether that be the chat or in sales training, something like Gong, where you can, understand and enhance sales training. So that's one area. And I have in preparation, I said, what are we doing? And there's like 40 things on the page. And a lot of them say employee productivity. But then I think there's a number of things where the software that we're using, and this may very well apply, and I think it does, to Ramp, is increasing their investment in their tools. And what we need to do is sort of enable through that, whether that be Ramp or NetSuite or Salesforce, et cetera. Flowcast, we use it to essentially take advantages of the investments that's being made in this platform. And I agree with you, having our employees self-discover, but also sort of leading them in that direction so that they can become more productive and essentially, as I said, spend more time on using their brain. There's repetitive tasks in procurement and accounting and general ledger and things like that I think will have a combination of efficiency but also employee satisfaction. And there's things in business analysis, business analytics, using the databases and BI that I think will be very powerful in understanding business trends. And as I mentioned, making sure that everybody's looking at those business trends and will affect, the growth rate of the business. So it's both. I do want to complete the picture, and that is because of security concerns, things like that. And we were talking about this on the way in. Our CISO and CISO team, our compliance teams, our CIO are heavily involved. If it's touching the corporate systems, why? We own a lot. We have a lot of customer data, and the world is one of ransoms and hacks, and this is, you should all think about this. You can't afford your reputation and these key assets to be compromised. So it's great to have frictionless adoption. It's great to stimulate use. It's great to find use cases that are spread throughout the company and have people find them themselves. But the real world, at least from my seat, is a little bit different, and that's why our CISO's involved, and you just can't go and do anything you want. And that may be a debate. Other companies may be at different stages and different policies, but I think it's the yin-yang there.
Well, that was a great example of the CFO-CBO relationship in action, a little bit of the push and pull. Thank you all for being here, for your engagement. Hopefully this was a productive session. Thank you, David and Dimitri. We'll see you out there.